Hello, my guy. How are you? I haven't been around for a couple of days here. I was going to go through why the reason for that is, but I just also want to admire how pretty Loki is, by the way. I don't know, he's just a cute little guy who's super overpowered, even though compared to the Ancients, obviously his power level and, the other Chrono Divines and stuff, he's not quite as good, but Plant, Shadow, and Divine is still a disgusting combo. And I really appreciate when we were able to get this dragon for free out of the castle event portion of the Divine event. I liked that. I liked that a lot. And, that was something that I kind of, I guess, did miss out of all of this Ancient event stuff, was the fact that we didn't actually get a dragon that we could obtain from a castle event, which was really odd feeling. Because I'm so used to at this point, we get to a point where we've done most of the month, but then we've got one major castle event at the end that pretty much guarantees that the free-to-play players can get a pretty good dragon, usually for free, unless it's like a really elemented one. But Loki was one of those dragons. I really appreciated that at the time, and even though I don't like DML throwing out so many events, considering how tedious they all are, again, if DML's events in general were just a little bit easier than they are to complete, well, not easier because the game is piss easy, but it's about not making everything so incredibly repetitive all the time. And that's been my issue with this event, mainly. It's like, we got a new concept of an event, but it's been an entire month of the exact same thing, over and over again. And my brain can't handle it anymore. Legitimately, we got the roll the dice event that came out, which was about hoarding event currency to get a massive advantage over everyone else. And since the roll your dice event came out in this new week, it's, I've found very little reason to want to log into DML. It's like, if you say, yeah, you need to log into DML today to hit your resets for Dragon Dice, I haven't done it in about a week. Not properly, anyway. It's like I've been hitting one reset a day max, sometimes not even fully completing it. Have I been bothering with this extra action? No. And I don't think that it's just me having a weird time with this event in particular. I think the constant resets with so many different events and having to be on top of this game 24/7 when I only have a PC, and then other players get to play on mobile, and then they're like, yeah, well, it's nice and easy, you can log in whenever you want, right? No, I'm a PC player and my resets absolutely suck major baloney. And overall, this event has been, in my opinion, an utter disaster for that. Because people have been saying, I enjoyed the roll your dice event, it was cool. Sure, I enjoyed the fact that we got a new event type, but it was cool for about a week. And then you realise that nothing's changing, and you still have to maneuver yourself around the exact same 6-hour resets for an entire month. And at that point, it's like, yeah, I'd really rather not. Because the main difference is that with previous events that we've had in DML is that even castle events, I think, are too long sometimes, sitting at about 10 days. But when these events come out, or this one that came out, it's like you had 10 days of pure mindless grinding like you would for a castle event, but then you had another 10 days, and then you had another 10 days of it without break. And I've been mentioning this quite a lot recently to people that I guess don't really get what the main complaint is here, but it's like, if you have to consistently be monitoring all of these resets in the back of your mind all the time, trying to maneuver your real life around an endless onslaught of just like 6-hour cooldowns on top of 2-hour boss challenge cooldowns on top of like 3-hour enchantment league cooldowns on top of X cooldown, it just throws so much stress into the mix. And the reality is, they could just make these events easier, or, again, easy isn't the right word. If they made the events less tedious to complete, it wouldn't be an issue. But the reason they make them so tedious is because it's the only way to get people to spend money on the bundles that they throw in. And this event, I think, is a prime example of that, because everyone that's saying things like, oh, well, I got this thing free to play, but I also bought the shrine, and I also bought 2 bundles, and I also bought this dragon, and I also bought this thing. Apart from that, it was completely free to play, by the way. And then I've seen tons of people going, yeah, I did buy the shrine, but I haven't been logging in that much, so it kind of counterbalances it, you know, so obviously this event's free to play. But then you gotta think, the people that did spend the money on purchasing the shrine, or say 1 bundle, and that compensated them for like 4 or 5 days of doing event grinding for a free to play player, that's 3 to 5 days of grinding that you don't have to worry about if you spend money. That a free to play player, or someone that maybe only bought the Emberstone Shrine and then starts really having a really dull sort of opinion of these events because of all the cooldowns, and they just stop logging in, it kind of feels terrible. And you can say, Quacks, this is just a personal issue. This is a you issue. You know, you could just log in and get everything that you want. You're just being a whiner. Yeah, sure, I'll accept that. I 100% get what you're saying, if that's your opinion. But the thing is, I've been seeing so many people, as of this event in particular, the you know, the good old Dragon Dice Ancient Event Month, I've seen so many people drop off the face of the earth that have been playing for a very long time. And it's quite upsetting, really, because it's obvious that there is a huge issue that these players are feeling, but then a lot of players that have bought all of these extra bundles and are very obviously very, very supportive of DML are kind of just fobbing all of their thoughts off. It's like, people have been saying, yeah, I think these cooldowns are stupid, and then people are like, yeah, well, for me, I have a really convenient reset, and including buying the shrine, these events were doable as long as I hit all 4 resets in the day, which was pretty easy on my mobile device, because all you have to do is open up your phone and then you can do it. It's the easiest thing in the world. And then all of these players that have been playing for like 4+ years that now are like, dude, I can't even imagine opening DML right now because the game makes me want to gouge my eyelids out because I've got to log in for another 6-hour Dragon Dice event reset. They're just being ignored. I'm not ignoring you, my friend, and I 100% feel exactly the same way. I have not wanted to log into DML for about a week now, minimum. It's like, the only thing that was keeping me even slightly interested in the thought of this game this last week was being able to hatch ik'ez, and that I'm glad that I could get him for free. But the reality of ik'ez is that some people that, you know, opened as many chests as me don't have ik'ez because they kept getting Firestorm Dragon pieces and not River Dragon pieces. And there was nothing that they could do about that because it was completely RNG as to what drops they got. And that's another issue. People were saying, yeah, ik'ez is free to play. Yeah, Molim is free to play. Yeah, Pokra is free to play. But it's not inherently free to play because you'd assume that free to play is attainable, but how can you attain something that's based in random number generator? And, you know, I've gone through the fact that the 6-hour cooldowns for this entire month of event is not realistic. It's not doable for a grand majority of normal human beings. I've been through that before. Then having people say that it is doable and then not actually back it up with literally any stats at all, just saying, well, I did it and it was fine, is not really good enough, in my opinion. You know, I've been playing this game for nearly 5 years now. Maybe you could say, Quacks, maybe it's just your time. Maybe you're just done with DML. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's the fact that I'm done with DML. It's the fact that there are specific events in this game in particular that really push me over the line, because they're the sort of events where it's like, they're masquerading as free-to-play events, but in reality, the only way that you can actually get any value out of them is by sacrificing other major parts of your life. And I don't think the game should be like that. And the only way for me to continue to enjoy DML is to not sacrifice other parts of my life anymore. I used to stay up to stupid hours in the night to reach resets. I used to do it. I don't do it anymore. It's not worth it. It is just not worth it anymore. And again, maybe that is a me issue, but I'm not the only person in the world that thinks that. And then we've got every single person in every single different kind of forum and social media talking about their own strats for Dragon Dice and how theirs is the best ultimate gamer strat. And then you got people saying, yeah, you should only ever use your 3 free rerolls, and then you'll get more Ember Stones per key. And then there's other people saying, no, you should always definitely pre-plan to always land on a purple tile on your 6 roll. And it's pretty damn obvious that not a single human being in the world has actually tried to calculate which one of the two or the 25 different methods is better. And it's just a lot of people just coming up with a whole load of hogwash as to what they believe is somehow the correct answer, despite the fact that they haven't actually looked into any of the probability odds for this event. And it's also getting to me, because it's like, obviously, if you want to go for Molim, the top tier strat would be to prioritize the purple tiles. We get that, right? But you can't really pre-plan to land on specific tiles within a set number of rerolls when it's all based in RNG as to how likely it is that that's going to happen. And then you say, yeah, but within a certain amount of rerolls, it's more likely that you're going to hit X number. It's like, sure, I can understand that. I get what you're saying. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you are going to sit here for 25 rerolls and you're not going to get one of the two numbers that you want. Because you might want a 3 and a 6, say. That might be the two numbers that you want in order to get the purple that you want. But sometimes you're just not going to get that for 18 rerolls, and then you're going to waste hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Ember Stones trying to hit it, and then you're going to be like, wow, I don't know why the game is being like this. Like, here, I'm not even thinking about my rerolls right now. And look, the game is giving it to me because we got lucky on what our rolls were. Whereas, if I'd have sat there trying to reroll for a very specific number, we could have been sat there for 20 plus rerolls trying to hope for the thing that we wanted, which is what some people are trying to claim is the best strat. But as you can see, sometimes it doesn't matter what your strat is, because you're gonna hit exactly what you want anyway. And sometimes you just won't. I think the only reason people continue to defend events like this is because they don't actually understand how unlikely it is that you're going to hit these specific numbers and things that they're saying is the ultimate gamer strat for this. Because again, if you're looking at rolling a very specific number on top of a very specific dice roll number on top of another one to get the exact amount of keys that you want, to optimize the amount of keys that you can get per lap, you're going to have to waste so much on rerolls, it's not worth it. But people will claim otherwise. And, I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's obvious people don't know how to calculate probability based on dice rolls, and yet they still claim as if they know, and then they try and tell everyone else that it's the easiest event in the world, and yet they can't actually tell me, or anyone else, why that is. And I think that's the thing also that's really getting on my nerves, because it's the same with the Pokra chess and the other divine chess that we've had in the past. How it's like you go through it and then there's always someone there that will claim to you that there's some elite special strat that you can do, some sort of ritual that is going to make the game give you the dragon that you want more frequently. It's like, ooh, you want the divine out of the chest? Well, before I open up the chest, what I do is I make myself a black coffee, I go and have a really nice poop, and then I come back up to the game, and then I breed my dragons. You gotta put the higher level one on the left hand side for this elite strat to work, by the way. Just hear me out, just hear me out. And then after that, you have to open up the shop menu 3 times exactly. If you don't open it 3 times exact, this isn't gonna work. And then what you're gonna do is you're only gonna use singular piece tickets. You're not gonna use 10 at a time, because in my head, I've convinced myself that using 1 ticket at a time is going to give me higher drop rates than using 10 tickets at a time. Why is that? I don't know, but it's something I'm going to randomly claim to you. And legit, I've been putting up with people like this for, like, years in DML. It's nothing new. It's obvious that they just don't understand. Why do you keep giving me pieces, game? I don't... Well, if you want to give me a full Molem, I'm selling it, so go ahead. But genuinely, people believe in these sort of, like, crazy, funky cultist rituals to help their RNG loot box drop odds, and it's like, you don't understand. You don't understand. It's how they get you. It's how they convince people that this sort of crap is okay. Because they don't actually understand it, so they just think it's enjoyable because they got a good drop once, but you can't do that. Not if you're trying to give advice to new players or trying to give people the ultimate elite strat to winning the game. You can't do that. You have to actually give them the stats that they need, or be real with them. I'm not gonna lie to you and sit here and say that this event is ethical. Because this event, it is possible to get Molem free to play. It is possible to get all 3 of the main dragons free to play. But it's not guaranteed. Unless you do stupid amounts of grinding at stupid amounts of... or at stupid times of the day when you shouldn't be having to do it, and you have to skip out on meeting with people that you know IRL, you have to skip out on doing work, you have to skip out on this, you have to skip out on that. And you just have to give up so much else in life just to do some crappy event that's been repeated for the whole month for a virtual dragon breeding game. Like, think about it. If we're talking about a game that's like this game's, well, one of its competitors in terms of mainstream market, you know, we'd probably compare it to something like Pokemon, because what's the main reason you play DML? Is it for the dragon breeding? Because mine is for the dragon breeding. Because it's like, hey, you want cute dragons, you want to breed stuff. That gives you that Pokemon itch, right? That's what Pokemon is. But with Pokemon games, I can go and open them whenever I want and do whatever I want with them whenever I want to do it. But you can't in this. It's like, in Pokemon, if I have the time and I want to play it, I can do whatever the hell I want in that game. But I can't in this game. It has to be when they want me to do things. It can't be when I'm free. It can't be when I've got time in my schedule. It can't be when I'm in the mood to play the game. It has to be when I'm out of the mood to play the game. It has to be when I don't feel in the mood. It has to be during the middle of the night when I should be sleeping. It should be doing 15 events that all coincide with one another. See, this is why I haven't been uploading, because if I'd have been uploading the last few days, it would have just all been the same complaining by me. I was like, you know what, I don't think I should just be uploading video after video after video of me complaining about the exact same crap, so I'm just gonna upload one in a few days after I've sort of, you know, cleared my brain a little bit. Because I'm really over it. And it's like, woohoo, we just got 35 tickets out of the Roll Your Dice event. Fantastic. Don't get me wrong, I love all of these additional events that they have on top, because it's like, spend your Ember Stones to get this crap. I like that, but then they shouldn't have convinced everyone to spend all of their Ember Stones in the other parts of the Dragon Dice event, because, let's be honest, the reason a lot of people didn't hoard their Ember Stones during this event is because we were sort of forced into trying to get Flame and Melushon as early as physically possible, and Molim, so that we could breed the Breeding Blitz event dragons. So people spent all of their Emberstones getting Flame, getting Melushon, and then Molim in that order, or people that wanted Molim only focused on Molim from the beginning of the event, so they spent all their Emberstones, and then they bring out an event that's about event currency hoarding, and people still defend this, saying, no, it's because you can still get fluffy free-to-play. Well, that's not the point. We're talking about Chevalier. It's one of the rewards here. It's so obvious what they did. And people still defend that event coming out after all of that, as if it's somehow fair in any sort of humane capacity. It isn't. It was so obvious what they did. Don't defend crap that's so obviously against consumer or player enjoyment. They didn't bring out that event to be nice. They brought out that event to force people to buy event currency bundles because they'd been hoarding the whole time. But alas, you know, I think some people are going to realize in sort of about 5 to 10 years time what sort of crap they fell into with this game, and what sort of stupid practices they just accepted as a norm that should never have been accepted. But, you know, I think this is related to what I've said in the past. Play DML for what the game is, not for what it could be. Because if you start trying to think critically about this game, and try and think about what this game could be if it actually tried to be nice to its players, this game wouldn't look anything like it does. There wouldn't be so much RNG, there wouldn't be so much just randomness in general. The breeding can stay the same because, you know, the breeding, it is the cool part of the game. But even though breeding the wrong thing can feel terrible, and it's still RNG crap that shouldn't really exist in games, but the breeding part, you know, it gives everyone that little... It gives them that little... It's almost like a drug. It is a drug, basically, that goes into your brain when you start gambling and putting or hedging all your bets on random number generator stuff. You know, the human brain likes it. But that's the reason why you can't let it happen, because kids shouldn't be allowed to deal with all of that, because kids shouldn't be around loot boxes in general. I mean, the rate of children being addicted to gambling at a younger and younger age is skyrocketing in the last 5 years, and it's because of games like DML, so I can never ever truly support DML's practices because of what it's doing to the kids. Now you can say that DML is technically, in Europe, only allowed for kids over, or people over the age of 16. But how many kids play with their parents? How many kids play with their caregivers? How many kids invest their time into this game with adults? And then they still get indoctrinated into all of these, like, loot boxes. You know, I want to support it. I want to support this game so bad. And Game Loft over the years have been so kind to me and given me so many opportunities, and you know, their community managers have always been great. And that's the problem. It's like, how can you have a group of people that can be so kind and so helpful in a game that is so inherently anti-consumer? That's where I'm really broken at the moment. It's like, I want to do the grinding, I want to get the enchantment mats, I want to upgrade the dragons, but the last week, I cannot even fathom wanting to play this game for a single second of my life. If I'm not recording this game, I don't want to be playing it at the moment with this event. It's just how it is. I'm being real with you. That's how I feel. That's how a lot of other players that have been reaching out to me recently have felt. If you're not someone that's feeling tired of the game because of this event, power to you. I'm happy. I truly am happy that you are finding enjoyment out of this game. but it's the fact that the events are so demanding when they don't need to be. They could just not be. They could just be more accessible, but they're not. Why are they not? You tell me. Why are they just not more accessible than they are currently? Why, because it would make them too easy? But that's not even true. How many people actually finish these events free to play? Completely free to play. Barely any. Barely any. Whereas I would expect that in a fair game, it should be like, if you invest some of your time, you can reach everything actually free to play and it's not reliant on RNG as to if you win or not. But I think this game's always going to be like this, and I was excited for this new style of event at the beginning, but 30 plus days of hard grinding of the exact same castle event formula just with a new speck of paint is not interesting. But anyway, I am going to try and get back on the DML grind and other game grind at the moment. We'll see what I'm going to do in the next few days. It's just, you know, I was so bored. And there's these bugs with like moving habitats that keep happening as well, which also is annoying me greatly. But, you know, this is the general gist. This is where I've been. I've been fighting internally with myself to try and pick up this game and just play it, even if it's just stream it, but I have had no desire whatsoever to open this game apart from to occasionally upgrade ik'ez. He's been my shining light in the pits of hell, which is this game at the moment for this month. Well, I say the month again. The first week or so of the Dragon Dice, it was fine. After that point, it was so much of a drag that I didn't even want to look at this event. Look at all of these events. Just look at them. It's... If we're gonna have this many events going on at once, they need to be made easier. Or, like, less tedious is the way. I'm gonna stop saying easier because this game is neither hard nor easy. It is just bloody tedious. It's like, how much tediousness can you deal with in your day? If you're insane, you can deal with more. If you have anything to do, you can probably deal with less. That's about as nuanced as it gets. But, you know, having like Frosty friends, that's fine because that's just a daily login event, so you can kind of take that one out. But then Bright Flames and Ancient Flames, you can kind of take them out. So then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events ongoing all at once, and these all coincide with one another. So if you're not doing Peppermint Lane and you're not doing Farming Fanatic, that's going to impact on your effect in the Roll the Dice. And if you're not doing Roll the Dice, that's going to impact on what you're doing in Dragon Dice, or vice versa. That's the problem. Every single event code links with the other, so you have to be doing every single event all the time, otherwise you're not getting full optimization value. That's where the issue is. But anyway, I've rambled on for far too long for now. I just want you to know that I still value DML for what it is. Cute dragon breeding, that's what I want. I want more of that. I want more of a focus on that. I don't want to be forced to buy a second breeding den, which is $5 a month every single month just to do that. There's not enough of a focus on the actual breeding in this game anymore. It's just all on these limited time pay-to-win events. I just want it to go back to basics. Personally, that's what I want. I want more basics. The amount of new breedable dragons that we've had in the last, like, couple of years is so low. We got a few, when was it, like, earlier this year? And that felt great for a short time. But it's like, most of the new dragons that we're getting are like Marshy here, that are all clan dragons, which is fine for people that like the clan events, but let's not... The clan events are just another timer on top of a timer on top of a timer on top of a timer that I can't even stand anymore. So, I don't know anymore, guys. I want to play this game. I want to play this game for you. I want to guide you in this game. But that's why I've been trying to take a break. But anyway, let me know how you've been feeling with this event so far. Did you really enjoy Dragon's Dice? Did you not? Have you been feeling burnt out? Have you not? I'm speaking out for the guys out there that have been trying to stay dedicated to this game for so long, but it feels like the game is just becoming grindier and grindier, and more tedious as the years go along rather than feeling easier. There's so many parts to this game now that you can't have the same event model that you had 4 years ago. It doesn't work anymore. Not in a way that is ethical and fair for players that don't want to ruin their entire lives and schedules just grinding for something meaningless and still based in RNG at the end of the day. But anyway, I'm gonna go before I literally make an hour-long video about moaning. But I really do appreciate you guys being here and still sticking by me, despite how negative I might be with this game sometimes, you know? Especially for the guys that really do enjoy this game still, because I get that it's not always the nicest to listen to someone just basically crap on the game all the time, but I try. I wanna feel positive. I do. Maybe throw some ideas out there of some dumb crap we can do in game. So that we can, you know, not really focus on the events for a little while. I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate you being here. I really do. Thank you for joining me today. And if you ever want to rant, you can rant to me. I'll listen. I'll listen. Anyway, thank you. And good day, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are.